The Battle of Kalinga was unlike anything the Indian subcontinent had ever seen. It was not just a war between two powers, it was a war of pride, freedom, and survival. On one side stood the Mauryan Empire, vast and unstoppable, led by the iron will of Emperor Ashoka. On the other side stood Kalinga, smaller in size, but mighty in spirit, determined to protect its independence or die trying. As dawn broke over the Daya River, the battlefield was already alive. Drums beat like thunder. Soldiers sharpened blades and tied their turbans. War elephants trumpeted in anger, armored and restless. Ashoka stood tall, watching the horizon, knowing that today, history would be written with blood. Kalinga's army formed up with unmatched bravery. Farmers turned fighters, monks turned warriors, sons marched beside fathers, all prepared to face the empire's wrath. They lined the hills, guarded riverbanks, and took positions near their sacred cities. They knew they were outnumbered, but they were not afraid. The first clash came with a deafening roar. Ashoka's cavalry charged forward, smashing into Kalinga's front line. Arrows filled the sky. Swords clashed. Men shouted their final words. The sound of metal on metal, cries of pain, and the thunder of hooves echoed across the land. Kalinga's soldiers held firm. Every step the Mauryans took was paid for in blood. Hours passed. Bodies fell. The heat rose. The ground became slippery with blood and dust. Yet neither side backed down. Ashoka's generals pressed harder. Wave after wave of soldiers advanced. Kalinga responded with fire, fury, and heart. At times, it looked like the smaller kingdom would break the great army. But slowly, the sheer size of the Mauryan force began to overpower the defenders. Villages were set ablaze. Forts were torn down. Kalinga's commanders, though brave, began to fall one by one. Families ran for safety, only to be caught in the chaos. The Daya River, once clear, turned red. Ashoka rode through the battlefield, victorious yet hollow. He saw the faces of the dying. He heard the screams of mothers. He saw the flames devour homes. This was not glory. This was not honor. This was destruction. By nightfall, Kalinga's army had fallen. The kingdom was crushed. Over 100,000 people were dead. More than that were wounded or enslaved. Ashoka had won the war. But deep inside him, something had changed forever. That night, the emperor did not celebrate. He did not smile. He sat in silence, staring at the battlefield. And in the silence, the weight of what he had done began to sink in. The fierce battle of Kalinga would not only end a kingdom, it would awaken a new Ashoka. In the next episode, witness how bloodshed turned an emperor into a seeker of peace and how the horror of war opened the door to a new path, one that would shape the future of India and the world.